New York City is simply going broke. They're spending billions of dollars on migrant crisis with nothing to show for. In fact, New York City is spending so much time, expertise, and cash on the migrant crisis that they're neglecting the other sectors that are paying for the migrant crisis, which are the small mom and pop stores. Many of them are leaving for places like Southern Florida. In fact, so many companies have moved out. Even entire malls have shut down in New York City. This is no longer the best place to do business. And many of these migrants, they are asleep on the streets because now New York is starting to evict a bunch of migrants. Now the homeless population is skyrocketing. This is no longer the place to do business. So many companies, corporations, and people have left New York City. Almost 600,000 people have left New York City in the past 3 years. That's about 8% of the total population. Look at this. We also have how much the hotels in New York City are making off the current migrant crisis. We're looking at almost $1 million per day, 6.2 million per week, and almost $30 million a month. This is a lot of money that is being spent on the migrant crisis. In fact, New York City is so down bad, they're willing to pay migrants to leave New York City because they cannot keep up with this sort of price. And guess what? Hundreds of hotels in New York City are actually very happy about this. They actually enjoy a bunch of migrants in their hotels because they make a bunch of money from the city. But how long can the city keep paying these massive bills before they go broke? Because now they're shutting down the shelters. Is there going to be a time when they start shutting down the hotels because they can't pay for them? Well, time will tell. But at the end of the day, New York is still going to be spending $9 to $10 billion this year. This is still down from 12 billion, a little bit better, but still, we're looking at billions of dollars being spent on the migrant crisis, and many of them on no bid contracts. New York City man speaks about the migrants. It's one thing to help people out, but not at the expense of people who pay the humongous New York City taxes. It's diminishing the quality of life. You're really taking away from the services that many of these taxpayers are paying for. They're getting taxed 3 times. This is wild. There's so many of these interviews on X, on YouTube, on TikTok. Watch them yourself. You won't find a single New Yorker who is pro sanctuary city status. Many of them are sick and tired of the sanctuary status in New York City. They could feel the quality of life going down. You're paying crazy taxes, crazy high rent to live in a city that provides nothing for you. Why would you be here anymore? Which a lot of these people are saying. And no wonder everyone is moving out of places like San Francisco, Chicago, and New York City because so many citizens are very disconnected from the administrations they're at. And no wonder places like Austin, Vegas, Miami are all of the fastest growing cities in the US, all at the expense of these sanctuary cities like New York City. Now you got a bus company that will stop ferrying migrants from Texas to New York City. Mayor Eric Adams understands that the longer he plays the sanctuary city card, the faster New York will fall. The sagging poll numbers also show that many New Yorkers are sick and tired of Mayor Adams. There's whole entire neighborhoods in New York City where most of them voted for this man. But now many of them are deciding to vote for other people in the next election. Like I said, even the New York Post is making fun of Adams, stating that New Yorkers feel unsafe. 30% say quality life is good and everything is worse than 6 years ago. Now, post-pandemic, New York City actually had a huge boost for a while, but then everyone started noticing the shoplifting is crazy, the crime is crazy, and the quality of life is in the dumps. And right now, Mayor Adams knows that he can't afford any more migrants coming in because every single migrant comes to New York City, they have to accept. And now he's suing bus companies. Now, some of the bus companies have backed off. So that means Mayor Adams really wants to be doing a massive U-turn on the sanctuary city status. And now, New York City, look at them now. New York City basically is neglecting their businesses. Now, one of their biggest malls in downtown in the Fulton Center has now closed. $1 billion was spent on this mall for Westfield. Westfield, only after 10 years, is now closing due to rampant crime. 70 of its stores will now be closed. There is massive amounts of homelessness and shoplifting. And now shops are no longer paying rent. Entire floor is empty. And Westfield breaks the lease with MTA, which MTA of New York City is now suing Westfield. But Westfield's like, sue us as you want, we're not coming back. And Westfield also says that MTA neglected the safety standards and also didn't care at all when phone calls are made about the crime and shoplifting, which New York right now is grappling with a massive migrant crisis. You think they care about your mall? But of course, just because of that carelessness Now, many malls like Westfield is slowly leaving, with hundreds of stores shuttering every single few months in New York City, from small to large. New York City really screwed up because this is right now the biggest blow. And in fact, this is a huge wake up call for New York City. And if New York City ignores this wake up call, it's going to spiral out of control with many, many stores closing down. And also, New York City is messing around with the pizza owners, forcing them to install $20,000 emission devices. And this is crazy because pizza owners don't even make that much money, right? The profit margins aren't even that high. And you're asking them to go for $20,000 and install this device. And it's all for the coal and wood fire ovens in the city. New York City has a huge pizza scene. And when you start messing with the pizza owners, instead of trying to get everything together, like the shoplifting, the migrant crisis, and the crime, pizza owners right now are mad. Many feel really disconnected from the New York City administration, messing around with small businesses and also large businesses, but at the same time, just spending every single penny on the migrant crisis. It's making everyone very mad in New York.
Today, Chicago City Council Committee on Immigration and Refugee Rights will meet as the city grapples with the growing migrant crisis. This comes as the city's mayor announced that beginning this Saturday, hundreds of migrants will be displaced as temporary shelters will be set up in parks. Those will close. For more on this story, bring in Monica Ang. She is a Chicago reporter for Axios. Thanks for being with us, Monica. Before we speak about today's meeting, I want to ask about the current migrant situation in Chicago today. What does this look like?
Well, we've got about 10,300 migrants living in 23 shelters. On Saturday, the mayor will close 5 of those shelters. We have a rolling, the city doesn't like to call them evictions, but rolling time out periods where people will have to leave the shelters. Dozens may be leaving over the next few weeks, possibly thousands over the next month. We have a measles outbreak where we have 31 cases, most of them concentrated in a West Side Pilsen shelter. And so lots of moving parts.
So where are these migrants being moved to?
Well, that's a really good question. The ones that are leaving the parks will be moved to other shelters, but those who have simply timed out on their time at the shelters will have to get to the back of the line in what's called the landing zone, where the migrants arrive when they come to Chicago. We've got about 10 who are in the landing zone today awaiting shelter.
So, Monica, the city's council meeting on immigrant and refugee rights, as we mentioned, is happening today. Walk us through what's on the agenda.
Well, they'll be looking at how the measles crisis has been affecting shelters. There are new rules about mandatory vaccinations before you enter a shelter. They're vaccinating people when they arrive at the landing zone. They're going to be looking at this 60-day rule about what, if any, modifications can be made to it. They've now made modifications where if you're a family, you can get extensions, you can get exceptions to the 60-day rule. If you are in quarantine because of your vaccinations, you can get exceptions. Most of the people who are being asked to leave now are single men.
So let's ask about how people are feeling about the influx of migrants in Chicago. And could that sentiment influence response from local government?
Yeah, I think it will. Loyola University recently did a big study of more than 2,000 people across Cook County. And what they found is that more than 70% did feel that the migrant crisis is affecting the government's ability to help current residents, but that they still, do want to offer help. And they broke it down by demographics. What you found is younger people, Democrats, women, and Asians all were more sympathetic and were more willing to help migrants than other groups. And that kind of, pushed against some of the sentiments, because we saw one Asian American community push back against having a migrant facility in their area. We've seen a lot of protests in some African American areas about migrants. And what you found was that sentiments towards migrants in the Latino and African American community were almost totally equal.
Wow.
It's fascinating. Monica Ang, thank you so much for your reporting and for spending some time with us this morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
Denver leaders have closed 2 of the hotel shelters that have been housing migrants who've come to the city. Right now, the city is sheltering about 730 migrants, but that's far below the 5,000 who are being helped in January. There were 7 hotels being used at that time, but as the number of migrants has fallen, so has the number of hotels helping them. City officials say 2 hotels remain, but one of them will also close this week. We'll tell you more about the push for migrants to go to other American cities coming up at 6 on Next.
The city of Denver is offering a stark warning to newly arriving migrants. Stay here and you will suffer. Denver's offering migrants help to move on to anywhere else in the country. Tonight, for the first time, we're able to see how Denver tries to convince migrants to leave in video obtained by Next from inside a migrant shelter.
The opportunities are over. That's Andres Carrera, political director for Denver Mayor Mike Johnston.
Nueva York te da más, Chicago te da más. Entonces sugiero que vaya por allá, donde hasta también con un albergue de más largo plazo, también hay más oportunidades de trabajo por allá.
Carrera is Denver's so-called newcomer communications liaison. That means that he meets the busloads of new arrivals. The city says this group got here on March 26, sent up by Texas's Republican Governor Greg Abbott. He warns them the jobs, the resources, the opportunities have already gone to the 40,000 migrants who came to Denver before them.
Hemos recibido demasiados migrantes y por eso se acabaron los recursos. Mira, no te vamos a bloquear. Si quieres permanecer aquí, no estoy aquí para bloquearte, estoy aquí para avisarte que tu camino no ha terminado. Si permanecen aquí, vas a sufrir hasta más, y eso no lo quiero ver.
Parents listen quietly as children play on the floor. As Denver tells these families that have sometimes walked from one continent to another that they just have to keep moving. But they don't have to walk. Denver will buy them a bus ticket.
Tu camino no ha terminado. Tu camino no ha terminado. Que viajas un tantito más. No tienes que caminar por ningún parte. Podemos comprarte boleto gratuito. Puedes ir a cualquier ciudad. Hasta la frontera de Canadá te llevamos. Donde sea.
The city says it won't buy bus tickets to Canada, but it will help migrants get to American border cities up north. It's a desperate pitch by Denver, a city that has taken in more migrants per capita than any city outside the southern border and is looking at $120 million in budget cuts to pay for migrant services. The moment of truth. Who in the crowd wants to go to a different city? And who wants to stay in Denver? Todos, a migrant says. Everyone.
The clock is now ticking for the migrants who arrived on that bus. Families have 6 weeks in Denver shelters and then they must go. Individuals get 14 days in shelter. As they were warned, after that, there may not be resources to help them.
Does your house belong to you? Or if you are not using it, can someone just come in, squat for a period of time, and then claim that they have a right there?
A Venezuelan national dubbed the migrant influencer is at the center of controversy this morning. He has been using TikTok to coach migrants how to live in the U.S. by taking advantage of laws protecting squatters.
Una casa en United States.
In his most recent controversial TikTok video, Moreno is telling his followers to avoid living on the streets in the United States. They can, quote, invade empty homes and live there, saying under U.S. law, if a house is uninhabited, it can be seized, referring to squatting rights in our country. That video garnered almost 4 million views.
This so-called squatter scam is something that's happening around the country. There's even videos telling people how to go in and take over an empty house. That was never how the law was supposed to work. And in Florida, we are going to take action today to end this scam and to protect the private property rights of our homeowners. You should not have anyone go on your property and take it over and then try to assert some rights. It's absurd. We're going to put an end to it today, and we'll be leading the way yet again in the process.
As we have more migrants moving into cities, more homelessness, we are going to see more of it, more squatting.
James Burling is a property rights attorney.
But they're talking about all the advantages that you can get from squatting. It's inevitable that it's going to increase.
In past videos, the illegal migrant bragged that he came to the United States to vacation and now lives off U.S. taxpayers because he had a child in this country. He also tells his followers that he waits for Americans' hard-earned pension checks to come in every month. In another video, he is urging fellow Venezuelans to pay the fines of a 15-year-old migrant who allegedly shot a tourist in Times Square, saying, quote, "Today it could be him, tomorrow it could be one of you." But this recent video on squatting is making headlines as Moreno tells his comrades that if they fix up an abandoned home that is deteriorated or in bad condition, they can get credits when the properties are sold. While Burling says that is not the case, the misinformation is now out there.
Well, I think publicity, like what we're seeing in TikTok and viral videos of that nature, are going to magnify the idea that squatting is an alternative to not having enough housing.
Well, the migrant influencer who was using TikTok to teach illegal migrants how to take advantage of U.S. squatting laws and go and squat in people's homes and take them over. He is reportedly has been arrested from immigration authorities this morning. TikTok finally suspended his account only after millions viewed his videos.
Leonel Moreno, who is a Venezuelan national, crossed the southern border into Eagle Pass, Texas in April 2022. From there, he was enrolled on what is known as the Alternatives to Detention program, which allows federal authorities to track migrants who enter the country illegally once they are released into the United States interior. Migrants who are enrolled in the program, like Moreno, are required to report to federal immigration authorities on their whereabouts in the United States while enrolled in the program. However, Moreno did not do that and was listed as an absconder from the program. Moreno regularly shares on social media how he scams the system to receive money from the federal government, food stamps, and shows his social security card in posts that we've reviewed. He claims that his wife and daughter receive $350 a month from the federal government, often flaunts the food and aid that they receive through the funding from these federal programs. Moreno originally told federal authorities that his intended address in the United States was the Catholic Charities office in Miami. He has since been seen in posts in Columbus, Ohio. When Moreno failed to report to immigration authorities as part of the Alternatives to Detention tracking program, ICE in Miami did mail him his court date. In one social media post, Moreno said that he has been in the US for over a year and has not had to work one day. He said, quote, "I've concluded that the American dream is real. This is food of the best quality that they just give you." In a separate post, Moreno said, quote, "Work is for slaves, boys. Remember that work is for slaves. Where have you seen a millionaire work? Don't humiliate yourself. You have to be creative to ask for money," he said.
But first, I've got to ask you your thoughts on the squatter situation, because we just saw Governor Ron DeSantis make it unlawful for anybody to go into a person's home in Florida and say that it's their home and take over that home. He made it unlawful. Why can't we do that in America? People are worried about strangers going into their homes if they're not there and taking them over. As an elected official, can you do anything about this?
This is something that is going to have to be done at the local and state level. But Maria, you're exactly right. People are quite concerned about leaving their home, going on vacation, and fearing that they're going to come back and have squatters who have moved into their home, their yard, their garages, their barns. We hear about it, and you know, this is not unlike that situation that you see there on the southern border, because ranchers and farmers, many that you have talked to, I have also, who say they wake up and there are those that are illegally in the country, in their kitchens, in their barns, on their farm equipment, and it is very difficult to secure their private property.
Well, I mean, good for Ron DeSantis for making it unlawful. We're going to keep watching this story because this is absolutely outrageous. And the person who was putting the videos on TikTok, he was trying to talk to the migrants who were coming in through the open border.
Heck, even the illegal aliens are going on social media and talking about squatting and urging other foreign nationals to come to this country illegally and commandeer property. You know, if we don't have private property rights, we will not have a free society. So it is the bedrock Florida stands by that. We're proud to do it.
All right, so the issue of squatting now has been on the rise all across the country. That's where people take over vacant homes, they rent a property and never leave. Can you imagine? You own a property, you can't get rid of somebody that's in your house. Oftentimes, it could take the property owners months or even years to get the squatters thrown out. Well, now the state of Florida is taking action. Governor Ron DeSantis just signed legislation that gives police the right to remove squatters as soon as they are found and makes it a felony to do more than $1,000 worth of damage to a home while squatting. Take a look at this.
Well, today in the state of Florida, we say very simply, what passes muster in New York and California is not passing muster here. You are not going to be able to commandeer somebody's private property and expect to get away with it. We are, in the state of Florida, ending the squatter scam once and for all.
And it is a scam. I know somebody in New York, 4.5 years, a squatter stayed in somebody else's house. Now, the governor of Florida also recently signed a bill banning any children in the state under the age of 14 from having a social media account. After years of research has now revealed the serious dangers that these online platforms are posing to our kids. Anyway, joining us now, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Governor, great to have you. You know, I doubt when you got into politics that you ever imagined a day where you'd be hearing story after story after story of, you know, people just commandeering other people's homes and then the courts protecting them. I know a case in New York. It went on 4.5 years before they were finally legally allowed.
You know, Colorado is now encouraging migrants to leave Colorado and go to like Chicago and New York. They're encouraging them. They're saying, look, hey, the sanctuary city thing didn't work out for us. It's not working out for us. You guys can't stay here. You're not going to freeload off of us anymore. We basically made a mistake. The citizens voted against it, and it's not a sanctuary place anymore. You got to go. No more help, no more handouts, no more none of that stuff. Well, now where are they going to go? They're going to turn to crime. They're going to turn to being deported. I mean, if Colorado will even do that, they're encouraging them to leave and go to sanctuary cities like Chicago and like New York. So that means that we have even more problems, probably 75, 80 million. No, what am I talking about? 75 to 80,000 of them plus coming here in New York from Colorado. And if you think back about 9 months ago, Mayor Adams in New York was actually talking about giving homeowners $125 a day to house a migrant. So that means people with big homes that have 4 and 5 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, whatever it is. Let's just take a 4-bedroom, decent-sized 4-bedroom home from some rich white Democratic man or some liberal lady. And they're sucking up the Kool-Aid and they're right on the government's coattail. $125 a day for 30 days or whatever it comes out to. Let's just say you housed 4 people. That's roughly $3,700 a month a person, which comes out to close to $15,000, just over a month. And housing 4 people from the government. Imagine if they had more people that were coming along with them, like a mom with 2 kids. What that would allot that family. And whenever it comes down to the amount of people living in a household and how safe it is, if there's no regulation and stuff for that, you end up like that home or the apartment owner in Chicago that had the 3 apartments.
Man, it is bent on a universal principle of not protecting rapey murderers. All right? We can have lots of discussions. We can have lots of disagreements. Some of you fuckers out there got a problem with pineapple on a pizza. You can go eat a big old bag of dicks. But there's one point that we all need to be level on, and you shouldn't protect a rapey murderer. But no, oh my God, shut up. Shut up, Blotto Blump, you son of a bitch. I can't believe Blotto Blump would get out there and talk about this woman being raped. He's a fucking out. No, again, you don't hold this animosity towards the rapist. Look at yourself. Look at yourself.
top of which Donald Trump has been indicted 91 times. He's liable for sexual assault. His entire business was found to be fraudulent. And law enforcement has the fucking gall to stand on stage with him. Enough is enough.
Holy shit. I do not want to look like this dude. I am so sorry that I yelled like a lunatic at the beginning of the show. I'll try to limit the yelling on Friday. This fucking dude's gonna pop. Keep going. Keep going, dude. Go for it. Get it. Heard about the 4 McKinsey reports on how diversity helps. Bottom line profits are totally fabricated. Everything that they use for diversity, equity, and inclusion, because there's a whole bunch of college white papers on this. They go, actually, Blix's people are not accurately represented in any of these Fortune 500 corporations because of racism. So we need diversity, equity, and inclusion in order to mitigate this and level it out for equity, of course, because equity is the end goal. No, all your fucking math's stupid. Everything that you use for that stupid bullshit paper is fucking stupid and manipulated. So you can get to the end goal that you want, where it's hiring dumb fuckers based on their skin color, so you can then exploit them and make them do stupid shit like Fatty Willis and stupid stuff like that. Anyway, so there you go. Hey, Donald Trump should stop talking about her. Stop it. If we can just shame people from listening to Donald Trump and they don't hear about Ruby Garcia, we'll be fine, because that was like a 1 in a million thing. Like, everybody knows that migrants, they only bring in those fucking things on the fucking sidewalk that drives everybody nuts. The bodega, I don't know. Here you go. We got lots of rapists and murderers.
We do have some breaking news right now. Butler County jail records show that a man has been arrested in connection with a murder charge. Furman Garcia Gutierrez is being held on multiple charges, including aggravated murder. Again, that is according to jail records. We're now learning that he has been connected to a body found in a Hamilton alley on Monday. Police say Garcia Gutierrez appeared to act alone in this, so at this point they're not looking.
Oh, okay. All right. So that last part, Furman Garcia Gutierrez, he was definitely acting alone. So let's just move on. So, okay. So there's a whole bunch of these dudes then. So there was a gang rape and murder. That's what you're telling me. That's what you're telling me. Dude, why are you immediately... Right. By the way, it was by himself. Okay. All right. So there's the dead body. We found a dead body, but it was definitely only for serial Furman Garcia Gutierrez and nobody else. All right. All right. No, holy shit. How many other murderers we got running around? This is don't worry about it. Case closed. Case closed. It was just this one dude. It totally wasn't a group of these fucking monsters. All right, because that would be a huge problem for us, because then we got to arrest a bunch of people and it's hard for us to hide the crime statistics, and we're telling everybody that crime's fucking down because again, we're a bunch of shitbag monsters over here. 7 times he's been deported. 7 fucking times. I mean, holy balls. The dude can't get arrested here. God knows what he's done in between the 7 times he's been kicked out and this murder that we just found him doing. God knows what he's done. But actually, it's not that big of a deal. These are the people on your kids' schools, man. There you go. Yeah, well, you've got a bunch of illegal aliens hiding in middle schools. You got a bunch of illegal aliens squatting on the squat court over here. Squat field. I don't play squash. Fuck, I don't know. I screwed that up. You know what I'm talking about. But hey, you got to look at things in the context, all right? Nobody's allowed to say bloodbath unless it's Joe Biden, right? Because when Donald Trump says it, you got to look at the context. Donald Trump is calling all of these fucking space engineers that were migrants. He's calling them animals. It's a bloodbath. Yeah, no, he's pointing out that you guys keep getting people raped here. That's the bloodbath. That's the context. Well, you know, we'll see. It's there you go, Butters. Yeah, the LSU team will. Yeah, yeah. It's the context. No, you just don't want Donald Trump saying bloodbath because that's what's happening. It's a bloodbath. It's a bloodbath. Defiant bear, Salty. I've been beat down hard and lost my business, and my family life is on eggshells, but I'm still hanging on like a man because of you. Because my family needs me and the strength from... Brother, please. That's, again, I really don't want to take money from people who've lost their businesses or lost their job, man. So I greatly appreciate that. But if you want to do a refund, please refund yourself back that money. 7 layers of hell, not enough. Shit. That's high price, though, man. That's way too high price. I'll try to calm down when the show doesn't work Friday. So, okay, so we got a few dead people. It's not a big deal. It's probably all a hoax, by the way. So here's CNN trying to push this. Stupid fucking Donald Trump saying there's he's calling immigrants animals again. He's calling rapists and murderers animals. Look at this shit. Remember the video of this asshole throwing up? We played it, I don't know, maybe a month or two ago. He goes, fuck you, I hope it hurt.
But when he says these immigrants are animals, they're not humans, what does that suggest? I mean, isn't that brutal? Shouldn't people be condemning that?
I listened to the entire tape. He was specifically talking about the person who murdered Lake Riley in Georgia. And to be honest with you, Wolf, if somebody murders another human being, I think they deserve to be called animals. Yes. And I don't think any American is really going to reject that kind of rhetoric. That poor girl was murdered in cold blood. Is that person who did it not an animal? I think that's an apt term.
So you think he was only referring to those murderers, not referring in general to illegal immigrants who are coming into the United States?
Look at the black dude's eyebrows. Whoa, yes. Wolf, you're not supposed to say illegal immigrants. Wolf, that's not allowed. Wolf, you're going to get detention. Wolf, we're not supposed to point out that they're illegal aliens breaking into our country, committing multiple. You think Blump was only talking about that rapist murderer? Yeah. And by the way, you have a bunch of people who are rapists and murderers coming through our border. We don't know who the fuck these people are. They're purposely ditching their identification. Go to the Rio Grande, go to any of these places, the Eagles Pass in Texas. The creeks and the riverbeds are lined with small children's underwear and identification, passports, driver's licenses from Honduras. They're purposely getting rid of their identification. They don't want us to know who they are. They're not great people. They go, well, you know, we talk about all of them? I'm not giving anybody a pass for breaking into this country. You guys are giving everybody a pass. You're giving rapists and murderers. And then you try to play this fucking stupid game where you go, well, like, you think he was talking about everyone? Or was he just talking about the dude who raped and killed Lake and Riley? It's, again, Wolf Blitzer isn't that fucking stupid. He's just that evil. He's an evil person.
To see migrants kind of camping out all over the city?
That's a concern. We already know when you go around the city, folks are asking for change. Kids are selling water bottles and candy. If you grow that out exponentially, because you got a couple more thousand people on the street, that makes a larger problem.
Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson announcing migrants will be moved from shelters today in order to use those facilities for their original purpose. The migrants will be moved to various homeless facilities, which are already struggling with strained resources. For more on this, let's bring in Chicago resident Cassia Jones. Cassia, thank you for taking time. Explain, you're there on the ground in this area, Gage Park. What is it like?
For us, those past months have been a nightmare, because we don't have any safety, no security. They do whatever they feel like. We have cars parked on the side of the street, selling food without permit, no license, smoking weed 24/7 a day, drinking in broad daylight, and seriously, no control whatsoever. We don't have cops, we don't have nobody to help us. We call them, they come, they go, and I'm not trying to be anti-immigrants, but what I'm anti right now, it's the government that bring all this danger to us because we don't have any support. And Mayor Johnson and Alderman Vasquez is supporting the situation right now, bringing all this to our homes, and we don't have nobody to call for help. Even last meeting that we have in December 19 with the mayor deputy, Beatriz Ponce de Leon, she tried to compare them with the Ukrainians that be coming to the United States as refugees. But right now what's happening is just people taking advantage of the benefits because it's being given everything for free, like spoiled kids. You can have anything, but you don't have to do nothing back.
Well, Cassia, you came legally to this country from Brazil. How do you feel about now? I understand as this is set up there in Chicago, the families, the women that have the children will be given free housing elsewhere. They're getting free things.
Yes, I do feel like a slap in the face. I slap in the face as me, as a legal immigrant, as the U.S. citizens, the black and the whites that have been living here forever, don't get the same benefits. And the illegal, they come before. How about them? They've been work here, they pay taxes, they don't have Social Security, they are not allowed to go back home, but they're doing the economic here to go forward. Those people that are coming now, they're not offering nothing. They are offering, I'm not saying that all of them, but the majority is just danger to all of us. And Chicago is going downhill.
Anybody else do anything, man? So we all done here. Yeah, no, but you've got at least 18 other DNA specimens over here. Now, again, it is semen, so it could be female semen. Fucking stupid. But maybe we should look for some. Nope. We've been defunded. And we've been paid to make sure that we massage the shit out of them crime numbers because everybody knows crime is down. Shut up. Fuck you. Shut up. Crime's down. Holy shit, crime is down, you racists. Damn, shut up. Fucking assholes. This guy's such a pig dick. All right, let's go. Let's go to New York City. I should be holy fuck. Holy shit. All right. Clean selection of all time. The vaccine's safe. The border's definitely secure. Crime is down. Ain't no fucking illegal alien gonna rape and murder you. All right. Trust them. No. Shit. No trust. No. I ain't trusting any of you.
We're down in crime in the subway system, folks, for the first quarter. We're down.
We're down.
We're down 24% in March. We're down in February. Can we please stop saying we're up in crime in our subway system?
They put the fucking military into the subway last week. They put the military into the crime is down. Shut up. Shut up, you fucking crackers. Don't make me call you a racist. What you racist? Racist? Huh? You're a racist? Only a racist would say crime. It's down. It's down. It's down. It's down. It's down. Racist. Okay, so it's down. Is that what we're saying? So we're gonna put the National Guard in the subway because crime is down. That don't make any fucking sense. Why, you're a racist? Yep. Yeah, I guess so. Oh. Okay. I'm sorry, is that all you got? Sorry, is that all you got? Crime is down. Oh, crime's down. Let's head into the subway system and see how much crime is down real fast. All right, let's just go take a look. Oh yeah. No, shit looks great. No. I'm sorry, what is going on?
You know, we had a little hard time with a couple of them, right?
To keep Texas the best state in the United States of America.
Make sure you get out and vote November 28th.
Welcome to Divine Justice. The U.S. border continues to be officially occupied by illegal immigrants. Illegal immigration has long been one of the biggest problems in the United States and has divided U.S. society. While Republicans led by former President Donald Trump and Texas Governor Greg Abbott are fighting to prevent illegal immigration and to prevent more migrants from crossing the U.S.-Mexico border, Democrats led by President Joe Biden are taking a more moderate approach to illegal immigration. By 2024, the number of migrants crossing the border could reach 800,000, and the announcement by the Biden administration that 30,000 migrants a month from 4 Caribbean countries will arrive.
Well, videos of women getting randomly punched on the streets of New York have gone viral, leaving people across the country in shock.
All right, Fox 5 Stephanie Routini went to one of the neighborhoods where these attacks happened and asked New Yorkers if they've encountered anything like it.
It was just after 12:30 in the afternoon on Tuesday when a young woman was punched by a stranger out here in public on 6th Avenue near West 23rd Street. Police are looking for the man they believe is responsible as this pattern of women being punched at random is unfolding in the city.
Unfortunately, that's something that you have to be mindful of and aware that these things are happening.
News of what happened here is traveling fast. Police are looking for this man after they say he attacked a 24-year-old woman in broad daylight. The NYPD responded to a call at 12:43 in the afternoon on Tuesday. Police say the woman was punched in the head. The suspect took off, according to police. It happened in Flatiron on 6th Avenue near 23rd. For those who live in the area, it's concerning.
It's scary.
This recent incident isn't the only one people are talking about.
I feel like a lot of people are kind of concerned about it, but it happens often, I feel like, as sad as that is to say.
As we've reported, female victims have been taking to social media, specifically TikTok, sharing stories of being punched by strangers.
So I just got punched in the face walking home.
This young woman, Michaela Toninato, was punched in Union Square Monday afternoon at 2 p.m., according to the NYPD, and police arrested 30-year-old Malik Maya in connection to the crime.
Oh my God, it hurts so bad. I can't even talk.
Influencer Haley Kate ended up with a bump on her forehead after she says a man walking a dog punched her on Monday in Chelsea. 40-year-old Skaboki Stora was charged in connection to that case. This recent rash of random attacks with females specifically being hit in the face has some women looking over their shoulders more frequently.
Watch for what's happening around me. On top of these incidents, a similar case reported in Brooklyn. A woman in her 50s said a stranger punched her and left her jaw broken. In that case, the NYPD just made an arrest. Reporting in Flatiron, I'm Stephanie Bertini, Fox 5 News.
You mentioned this, Dana. When I get to it now, an elite immigration team making a major bust, taking down 5 alleged migrant criminals, and they did it while working around sanctuary city policies. Bill Malusian embedded with that team in Boston. He's got the story now. Bill, what you learn? Hello.
Hey, Bill, good morning to you. ICE says because of sanctuary policies here in Massachusetts, illegal aliens charged with heinous crimes are essentially able to roam the streets after release without any notice. And we were with ICE as they took down 4 alleged child rape.
She found a man staring at her. As the train pulled into 169th Street and Hillside Avenue in Jamaica, she tried to get off, but says the man was blocking the doors and performing a lewd act.
No, shut up. Shut up. Was it Fermin Garcia Gutierrez?
System, folks, for the first quarter.
Quarter.
We're down. We're down 24% in March. We're down in February. Can we please stop saying we're up in crime in our subway system?
He's more upset at you pointing out that there's crime. in the subway system than the crime in the subway system. Hey, can you arrest these rapists? Can you deport these illegal alien rapists? Well, listen, did you just say illegal alien? That's mean and racism. Yeah, I don't give a fuck. They're raping people. Well, actually, they're only raping them a little bit. And a little bit of rape isn't a crime in New York City. No, none of that makes sense. Not a single word of that statement makes any fucking sense. That's insane. It's fucking Gotham over here. Without all the bright colors. So yeah, no, they're going to try to kill you. They're going to try to kill you. No. We ain't trying to kill nobody. We ain't trying to kill. Again, you're telling everybody there's no crime. When crime's through the roof, you're going to get people killed. They want you dead. They want you dead. And if they can't get you killed by an illegal alien and then cover it up with a, what are you calling all the brown people aliens? Aliens? Rapists and murderers? Well, then they'll kill you with a bioweapon. These poor people at the wellness company. God bless you. I'm so sorry. The last stream, they sponsored the last stream too when I was flipping out. Like, holy shit. Can you please just sell us some medical kits? I'm trying. I'm trying to sell you some medical kits because these people up to no good, up to no shenanigans. Actually, the vaccine's the safest thing known to man's. Way safer than that.
In place. Really intriguing stuff, Bill. We'll see what comes of it next. Thank you. Bill Malugin in Boston. I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.
Is that Tawaki Kamaso? Okay, it's all yours.
Okay. Mr. Adams, I was in this room in June of 2022. After testifying to you in that public hearing, we had a private conversation in a small conference room nearby. You made a remark to me then that you were going to look into my housing. There was no follow-up about that. 15 days ago, I got a punch to my head in a mica shelter. I don't belong in a shelter. We talked about a housing issue back then. There was no follow-up because of that lack of follow-up. That's how my face looked 15 days ago after getting a punch. So the question is, when people come to your public meetings, you make statements to them, there's no follow-up. There are huge repercussions. I currently have a lawsuit against your administration, one being assigned to the New York State Supreme Court in Manhattan, assigned to New York State Supreme Court Judge Lyle Frank. I also have a pending petition for writ of certiorari to submit to the U.S. Supreme Court by the end of next month. And so guess what I'm going to tell them? I'm going to tell them that while I have pending litigation against your administration, I'm being punched in the head, having to go to an emergency room. So basically, my point is First Amendment retaliation in response to protected First Amendment activity after having a conversation with you in which essentially you lie straight to my face. Have a nice day.
Yeah, thank you. And first, no one should be assaulted. I'm really sorry to hear what happened to you. And as you indicated, you don't belong in a homeless shelter. No one belongs in a homeless shelter. Every New York should have the right to housing. And the reason we could not continue with our conversation is because you had ongoing litigation. And our counsel stated that when someone has ongoing litigation, we should not interfere with that litigation at all. And so I'm gonna repeat that since you didn't get it when you were recording the first time. I'm gonna say it again. The reason we did not continue to communicate with you is because you had ongoing litigation. And the corp counsel that represent the city advised us that we should not have continuous conversation with someone that has ongoing litigation. But if you have litigation or not, no one should be assaulted in the city. That's something that I stand for. That's something that I believe. And I'm hoping that you reported it to the police department so they could have taken appropriate action, because the person who's responsible for that should be held accountable. That goes for you, and that goes for the 64,000 other migrants, 64,000 other housing, and the over 180,000 migrant and asylum seekers that have come through our city. You spoke already. Let me finish. That goes for those who are already in our system and those who are still coming in our system. Our obligation is to make sure they're safe and they're treated in a humane manner, and that's what we're proud that we're doing. I want to turn it over now to the Speaker of the City Council, Speaker Adrian Adams.
And we begin with breaking news. New video showing a dramatic and deadly shootout between San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputies, a teenage girl, and her father in Hesperia. We just obtained videos of the incident from September 2022, revolving around a teenage girl who was part of an Amber Alert. She was killed along with her father in that shootout.
Eyewitness News reporter Amy Powell is in the newsroom with more on that video and what took place. Amy?
Ellen and David, the law enforcement footage just obtained by ABC7 captures the fatal deputy-involved shooting of the 15-year-old girl and her father, who was an accused killer. The Sheriff's Department says shots were fired from the suspect's vehicle during a lengthy pursuit, and there are still questions about exactly what happened. The tense pursuit of an armed murder suspect came to a fiery end on the side of a freeway in Hesperia. Deputies surrounding a pickup truck driven by 45-year-old Anthony Graziano. His 15-year-old daughter, Savannah, believed to have been abducted by her father, a passenger in the vehicle. Suddenly, the unarmed teenager exits the pickup. The San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department releasing deputy-recorded audio of the incident.
Passenger, get out! Passenger, get out! Get out! Get out!
Savannah, wearing tactical gear and a helmet, goes down to the ground and then stands up to walk toward a deputy, calling her to his position.
Come here! Come to me! Come to me! Come to me! Come to me! Come, 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 come! Walk, 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 walk! Hey! Stop! Stop shooting her!
Authorities say both Anthony Graziano and Savannah died after being struck by bullets fired by deputies. This all started in September 2022, one day before the shootout, when Anthony Graziano shot and killed his estranged wife, Savannah's mother, outside a school in Fontana. An Amber Alert was issued for Savannah out of concern she had been kidnapped by her father. His truck was spotted the next day near Barstow. A long pursuit began. Someone from Graziano's truck fired multiple shots at deputies. It is unclear if it was Savannah or her father who fired those shots. The California Department of Justice is still investigating. We reached out to the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department for a comment, but authorities say they will not be able to provide any additional information until the Justice Department investigation is completed.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown. Get more great ABC7 content by clicking the subscribe button for our YouTube channel and download the ABC7 Los Angeles streaming app on Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV, and Roku to watch on your TV.
According to Customs and Border Protection, this disruption started at about 1:30 on Sunday, and this happened at the Paso del Norte Bridge in El Paso, Texas. Now, this connects El Paso to Ciudad Juarez, Mexico, and CBP says that they deployed physical barriers to stop this attempted mass entry into the United States. Why are we seeing this right now? Well, you probably remember the immigration policy towards Venezuelans changed in October, and since then there's been a swelling of Venezuelans in Ciudad Juarez on the Mexican side.
Video from a bridge to El Paso shows U.S. Customs and Border Protection using riot gear and traffic barriers to push back a crowd of migrants trying to cross into Texas yesterday. Local station KTSM spoke to a frustrated man who said he gets error messages every single time he applies for U.S. entry on the new CBP app.
Diariamente llegamos 500 inmigrantes en un tren y en la aplicación solamente hay cupo para 10. Pasan 10 personas por el puente legal y llegan 500 esperando, ¿me entiendes? Y todos los días así, y todos los días así. ¿Cuándo pasamos nosotros?
Es que yo facture más que ustedes sin necesidad de andar como esclavos. ¿Capichi? Esa es la diferencia tuya y mía. Que yo siempre voy a hacer dinero.
He has been certainly working on top, working and focusing on this. You know, we take health and safety of the American people seriously. It is very important to this president. Our top priority is to keep communities healthy, safe, and informed.
So we're going to close the border then, right? You got millions and millions and millions of motherfuckers jumping over that border that you said is totally for serial secure. And now we've got a brand, get scared fuckers. It's the bird flu. Somebody's sitting there going, "Listen, actually, bird flu isn't really that scary. We should probably call it something else. Let's call it mega flu. That'll scare everybody so much." It's just so dumb. Holy fuck. So you're monitoring the I remember when, I'm so old. I remember when it was H1N1. Holy fuck. I got a Dreamcast. Leave me alone. Now we're on H5N3, boys. Watch out, super duper. Okay, then close the border. Well, I mean, we can't do that, but you're killing millions and millions and millions and millions of chicken, apparently over a dude getting pink eye. So can we close the border then? Well, listen, we can't close the border. We need all those illegals coming over here. Whoa, that's a weird thing to say. That's a weird thing to say. Yeah. Listen, I don't know what ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine do to bird flu, but I'll find out way the fuck before I go to a hospital. That's me personally. Don't listen to me. I'm not a doctor. I don't know what I'm talking about. Unlike Stephen Colbert, unlike these fucking scumbags, these talking heads on Richard fucking Mad Cow and these other idiots, I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm just telling you, me personally. I'm taking ivermectin before I take some sort of experimental fucking concoction from Dr. Anthony Fauci and Big Bird and Bill Gates when it comes to fucking bird flu. Shit. I didn't. I'm not paying too much attention to what the Iranians and the Syrians and the Israelis are doing. I saw that they blew up an embassy, and I'm just sitting there going, I'm waiting for shit to blow up, boys. Waiting for shit to blow up. So, wow, that's weird. All right. But we're going to leave that border wide open. Let's not do that. That's a dumb thing to do. Especially from you fucking criminals out there who, you created COVID, by the way. Everybody knows that, right? We're not pretending that you guys didn't do that, right? No, everybody knows that you guys did it. So, where does that leave us? Well, it leaves us in a really weird situation because you got Joe Biden out there, and he is flailing in the wind. You know, one of the things that's really fucking Joe Biden up lately is gas prices going back to the roof, despite the fact that the White House just told you,
but haven't had the benefit of the status where they haven't had all of these benefits. So there's a little bit of a resentment from even immigrants to the newly arrived immigrants.
You're talking about people from what countries, for example? I know a lot of the new arrivals are coming from Haiti.
Haiti, the new arrivals are Haiti, Venezuela, Nicaragua, and one more. But just everybody, Salvadorians, Colombians, Cubans who've been here for many years, even Venezuelans who've been here. Yeah, Venezuela. Venezuela is a big one, right? That's the biggest number, anyways. So yeah, there is this this kind of two levels or two different types of undocumented or people who don't have their progress, and I commend the Healy administration. They're trying to do whatever they can to integrate these folks sooner rather than later. But you've got this whole swath of other immigrants who've been here and say, I don't have my work papers. I've been, contributing, etc.
That's a really interesting dynamic. Samantha, I mentioned at the outset that there's this very unpleasant alleged incident at a migrant shelter in Rockland in which a migrant from Haiti is accused of raping a girl who I believe was 15 years old, also a migrant from Haiti. Governor Healy was asked to weigh in on that alleged rape. She said that the man in question had come to Massachusetts on a federal program. She called the alleged incident terrible and horrible. But she also said, when she was asked if she could keep this sort of thing from happening again, it's unfortunate that from time to time things will happen. And Kelly Ayotte, who's running for governor of New Hampshire, seized on that and basically made it part of her campaign pitch against her opponent, who's been endorsed by Maura Healey. Let's take a listen to how Ayotte framed this when she was talking with radio show host Howie Carr.
I was the Attorney General. I was a former prosecutor. And when you say things like from time to time things happen about rape, especially from people who are not even supposed to be in our country, it's outrageous. And my opponent, Joyce Craig, has been endorsed by Maura Healey. So I asked her, what do you think about her statement? And don't you think you should denounce her endorsement? And Howie, I heard crickets.
Samantha Gross, are you surprised to hear a selected part of Maura Healey's response?
We have this international crisis that really requires federal intervention that local government is being asked to subsidize. Local government is not designed or built to handle such a crisis.
Definitely both a humanitarian crisis for the migrants that are arriving, and it is creating a fiscal crisis for the city.
I don't see an ending to this. This issue will destroy New York City.
The present migrant crisis is quite unprecedented, both in scale, in the diversity of the nationalities that are coming to the border, and the impact it's having not only on the border states, but in the states and cities inside the country.
I think it's at this point politically unsustainable for the Biden administration to maintain this unlimited flow into what's essentially a welfare state network of cities like New York and Denver and Chicago.
So how long can cities withstand the recent surge of migrants? And what do they need to end the crisis?
We have to first acknowledge that there is a crisis, because if you don't acknowledge a crisis, you can't be in a crisis mode. We have to be in a crisis mode.
And this crisis is expensive. In 2018, New York City spent roughly $258 million to fund its immigration services, adjusted for inflation. By fiscal year 2023, the city had spent $1.47 billion servicing those seeking asylum. The city of Chicago spent over $194 million on its new arrivals mission since October 2022. Denver is estimated to have spent between $36.3 million to $39.1 million on migrant support services in 2023.
The three biggest items for expenses for new arrivals is housing, education, and healthcare. And they're all three high-ticket items.
The idea that we could have a generous system of welfare benefits from health to education and so on, and allow the entire world to access those benefits is just mathematically impossible.
Ready, close. Ready, cut. Ready, face. Forward.
Well, people in one part of Toluca Lake say their neighborhood looks like a garbage dump, and they say it's a constant problem. They want the city to do more. KCAL News reporter Amanda Starantino has a closer look.
Piles of trash, a wheelbarrow full of litter, and tents serving as shelters blocking city sidewalks in Toluca Lake.
This is not the worst it's been.
Hillary Watt has lived in this neighborhood for years, right in between the encampment on the corner of Vineland and Moore Park and the one under the 101 on Moore Park.
And it's gross. Like if you want to go walk somewhere and there's urine and you have to walk in the street because the sidewalk's totally packed.
She says it's a constant cycle, but there haven't been any actual solutions.
It would get really out of control, sort of spilling out into the street and blocking the underpass, and so the sanitation department comes, cleans everybody out, cleans everything out, and then they slowly sort of creep back.
Do you think the city's doing enough?
No, I mean, absolutely not. At the moment, you know, we're just letting them sleep on the sidewalk. Ironically, I don't think it's very humane.
Neighbors we talked with today say this has been happening for years and it just seems to be getting progressively worse. But when it comes to the city and any sort of cleanup, the city says Their hands are tied. City Council member Paul Krikorian's office sent us a statement saying this area used to have even larger encampments under the 101 freeway, and that enforcement of the city's no camping law, combined with outreach to the unhoused and the creation of interim housing solutions, has restored use of the public right-of-way. While individual problem areas still demand our attention, we should not lose sight of the enormous progress we have made in the last years alone. At this particular location on the corner of Vineland and Moore Park, the city says the unhoused people who have set up here have declined multiple offers of service and shelter. However, the city says they have no legal basis to do anything else other than clean up the trash.
You see drug use, you see people who are clearly in need of help, who can't take care of themselves. And the policy seems to be, you know, hands off, can't touch them, can't make them do anything, which has good intentions, but you know, at the end of the day, these people can't take care of themselves. So what's more humane, to let them sit there or to intervene?
In Toluca Lake, Amanda Starantino, KCAL News.
For the first time, we're hearing from the San Francisco restaurant owner and rapper who's at the center of a controversy after releasing a music video criticizing Mayor London Breed. Under usual circumstances, a diss track wouldn't garner this much attention. But because of a mayoral re-election this fall and race, it shows how Asian Americans could make or break the upcoming election.
In the course of 3 years, I had about 7, break-ins and vandalism. That was the tipping point. And I just decided, you know what, reach out to the city. Nobody is going to respond.
It was this series of frustrations which drove restaurateur and rapper Chino Yang to produce San Francisco Our Home. The song is part love letter.
San Francisco, that's my home. Let me put it in a song so you never get wrong. No matter what I'm in, this is place I love.
And part exasperation.
Atlanta Breed, you ain't nothing but a clown. When we really needed you, you would never be around.
The rap accuses Mayor London Breed of failing the city's small businesses, abandoning the city's Asian American community.
Now everybody, let me see your hands in the air. Now throw your two middle fingers up to the mayor.
But the critical tone upset some members of the Black community, including the Reverend Amos Brown, president of the San Francisco chapter of the NAACP. Brown rushed to defend Breed and expressed his displeasure over the rap in this voicemail to Yang.
I asked you to repudiate that rap, and since you have not, and I've told the Black community that you did not, the community will make a public statement calling you out for the wrong that you did to the mayor. The mayor is not responsible for all the crime of this city.
Despite Yang issuing this apology shortly after.
So for the sake of my family and my loved ones and my close friends, I'd like to openly and publicly make an apology.
Brown then held a press conference to pressure Yang to take down the video.
This young rapper, that he needs to get his lessons and sit down and learn.
Brown declined to comment further when asked by ABC7. But this back and forth is an example of the political challenges Breed faces as she tries to win a second full term. Her supporters in the Black community say she's unfairly blamed.
Please do not call out our mayor again.
AAPI community leaders, frustrated by property crimes and attacks targeting elderly Asian residents, have become increasingly critical.
Of course it's political. Everything's political.
Breed is competing with several challengers for support of San Francisco's Asian American community. Her political future depends on whether she can earn it.
It's an election season, and Mayor London Breed is up for a really tough re-election drive. And the concerns raised in the video are legitimate ones. It's about crime, it's about the streets, and it's about whether or not the mayor is doing her job.
ABC7 News insider Phil Mateer says in a city where Asian Americans make up a third of the population, recent races have proven how important the Asian vote is, especially among the young and conservatives in the political landscape.
We saw it in the school board elections and recall. They were a primary force behind that. In the recall of progressive district attorney Chesa Bodine, who they felt weren't doing enough about crimes aimed at Asian American, especially the elderly. It's long been said that you can't get elected only on the Asian vote in San Francisco, but you can't get elected without it, or at least a significant portion of it.
Bob Sakanawa, Director of Policy and Advocacy with nonprofit API Vote, says it's a trend happening nationwide.
They certainly did play a crucial role in battleground states. Asian Americans in Georgia, Arizona, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Nevada, North Carolina, came out in numbers that exceeded the margin of victory for the winning candidate in that state. Clearly, if the Asian American community mobilizes, they will be able to have a huge impact in these critical states.
Sakinawa believes political campaigns still need to do more outreach to attract the API vote to the polls.
Based on the national parties and their outreach to the community, I think there's still, a lot of room for growth.
Now, Mayor Breed's office told me in an email they would not be commenting on the rap song or on Brown's press conference. They did, however, send me a statement touting investments in programs for the AAPI community and an 80% decline in hate crime since 2021. Former Mayor Willie Brown, who is an ally to Breed, was also slated to appear at that press conference but did not show.
11 o'clock, what's in a name? Some anger in San Francisco because of a new policy involving political candidates and their Chinese names.
Specifically, names that appear on a ballot as a way to appeal to Asian American voters. A woman now running for political office says that new policy doesn't take into account people like her. And she says her political future could be at stake because of it. NBC Bears' Gia Vang is in the city with more.
Since J2 was a little girl, she says her mother has always called her by her given Chinese name.
I know who I am. My Chinese name is Yip Gai. I was given that name to me when I was born, and it should not take all of these steps for me to prove it.
That's because Tu is now running for the San Francisco Democratic County Central Committee.
I'm a first-time candidate, so I've never had my Chinese name publicized in news articles or anything of that sort because I didn't know I was going to get into politics until a few years ago.
In a memo by the Elections Office Department Director dated November 29th, the department is adopting a policy that requires candidates to submit evidence that shows an established use of a Chinese name. Traditionally, candidates for elected office, even those who aren't Chinese, have picked Chinese names with certain personality traits and in turn boosted their image and campaign. So tonight, Tu got an email from the department. Because she submitted a character-based name with her nomination documents, the department needs more verification. An old business card and her mother's letter testifying to her given Chinese name is not enough.
It's extremely upsetting, and quite frankly, it's absolutely absurd. I've always had this name. This name has been given to me, and the fact that I need to constantly prove myself and what my name is not okay.
In the letter, the Elections Department stated candidates are required to demonstrate their use of their name or transliteration within the public sphere for the preceding 2 years when filing nomination papers. It goes on to say if supporting documents are not submitted, the department will provide the phonetic equivalent of the syllables of the candidate's name in English. All those documents needed before Wednesday. We reached out to the Elections Office after hours and have not heard back. Tu says the new policy didn't have people like her in mind.
So they need to write the law so it simplifies it and it's easier for Chinese Americans.
You're looking live at the Fox News flight team over Chinese migrants trying to cross the southern border illegally. Griff Jenkins is live in Jacumba, California with the latest. Griff, what are you seeing down there?
I'm seeing a lot of migrants, Jason, and let me tell you, to put into perspective just how many Chinese are coming across the border, particularly in the San Diego area. In all of 2021, 450 total Chinese migrants crossed the entire border. This year, more than 20,000 in the last 4 months since the fiscal year began. Let me show you, though, they're not just from China. They're also from other countries like Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Brazil, but there are an influx of Chinese migrants. In fact, I mentioned that 450 number. In the past 3 days, we've eclipsed that number of migrants. These migrants here in Jacumba, 60 miles east of San Diego, are waiting to be processed. Many of them will be released, but it's the national security aspect, particularly of the Chinese migrants, that concerns the officials because of the vetting process and knowing who they are. And the fact that we have so many that are single adult males. Now, if I just spin you around here 1 second this way, Thomas, you can see they're lining up the families and the women and children that'll go first when the vans come. But the vans are overloaded because so many migrants are coming, so they have to wait hours. And in fact, some of these migrants might even have to spend the night, depending on how many vans they have. We spoke to one Chinese migrant man, though, Jason, and I asked him why exactly it is that he's come to the U.S. The answer may shock you. Listen here. Why did you come?
Take money.
Money
Yeah.
for job?
Yeah.
There's no job in China.
Maybe, I don't know.
And what's so fascinating, because we've been covering this for more than 2 years, it was a heavy surge in Texas, but it's now come out west, Arizona, and here in the San Diego sector, particularly of the 20,000 I mentioned that came here, they have had more than 90% of Chinese migrants coming to this area, particularly in Hakumba. And that is a situation they're having to deal with. Along with last week, they had more than 73 different countries. I don't know what we've got this week, but it's definitely off the charts. Jason?
Griff, thank you. As always, stunning numbers.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.
With more than 2 years until the 2026, a new name has already entered the race for California governor. California's former controller, Betty Yee, announced that she will run to succeed outgoing Governor Gavin Newsom, who will be termed out in 2027. Yee is a San Francisco native, daughter of Chinese immigrants. She currently serves as vice chair of the California Democratic Party. In a statement, Yee said California families are working harder than ever, but the cost of housing, food, care, and more is moving out of reach.
Another name officially added to the list for candidates looking to fill Governor Gavin Newsom's spot. Former state controller Betty Yee announcing her run for governor in this social media video. Yee was first elected to the state's Board of Equalization in 2006, and before that she worked as the state's budget director. If elected, she would be California's first female governor. 3 other candidates are also officially running state school.
San Francisco's Board of Supervisors just approved the revival of what's known as the Homeward Bound program. It's meant to help people living on the streets here reconnect with family or friends elsewhere and hopefully get a fresh start. Ann Macvick has more on how the program works. And
yeah, it's basically a one-way ticket out of here. The city makes contact with a family or friend of an unhoused person, buys them a bus ticket, and sees them on their way. Various forms of Homeward Bound have been going on since 2005, but the program took a dive during the pandemic, and now supervisors approved a plan to revive it, extending the offer to people already in the city's network of shelters and supportive housing. They'll also be offered drug or alcohol treatment. Now, it's not a round trip. Anybody who uses that Homeward Bound program to leave the city and then returns will not be eligible to get another ticket for at least another 2 years. The city says about 2/3 of people who enroll in Homeward Bound remain in housing after the first 90 days of their move. So as that plan awaits final approval in San Francisco, another statewide plan to get people off of the streets is about to take effect, including billions of dollars of funding from Prop 1. That is the plan that voters narrowly approved in the election earlier this month. A $6.8 billion bond measure to create more treatment beds for people struggling with addiction and mental health issues. The mayor says city departments have already begun planning so that when the money from the state arrives, San Francisco is ready to act. Now, Prop 1 was a big political issue for the governor on the statewide side, which saw voters almost split. And now Homeward Bound is a focal point for the mayoral race here in San Francisco. Liz.
Certainly is. Thank you, Ann. Coming up, in fact, we'll talk live with San Francisco supervisor and mayoral candidate Asha Safai about the revival of Homeward Bound and what that will look like in the weeks and months to come. Plus, as San Francisco city leaders work on ways to combat the homelessness crisis, one man is focusing his lens literally on the people. See how he is showcasing those in the Tenderloin. Gorgeous view of the city there. Today, though, we are diving into San Francisco's revival of a program called Homeward Bound to help unhoused individuals with resources to return to their hometowns outside of the city. Joining me now is San Francisco supervisor and mayoral candidate Asha Safai. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thanks for having me.
So why is it important to revive this program?
Listen, this was one of the most successful programs San Francisco had at getting people off the streets. Unfortunately, under this mayor, it was buried in the bureaucracy. From 2004
For many San Franciscans, they were the last hope of taking some control over the sidewalks outside of their homes and businesses. Now, many are getting violation notices because the planters that they put out to deter encampments are in conflict with some city code or other. That includes a nonprofit medical provider that our Wilson Walker introduced us to last year.
So this is the problem where, they're saying that the width is not, because it's not wide enough.
For Vivica Riddell Anderson, the planters were a measure of last resort. We first introduced you to her last summer when the encampment situation on Van Ness and Larch Alleyway was complicating her work at the Pacific Vision Center, helping underserved patients from across California.
We have a lot of patients who are coming in for sight-saving care. So
neighbors saddened after a husband and wife found dead inside their San Francisco home. Tonight, neighbors in shock, family members in mourning. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mike Meebeck.
And I'm Julie Hayner. Sources tell us tonight the shooting was a murder-suicide. That shooting happened around 8:45 last night at a home near Dwight in San Bruno in the city's Portola neighborhood. New at 10 tonight, KTVU's Amber Lee joins us now from San Francisco Police Headquarters. Amber, what are you learning about the victims?
Julie, police tell me they're still piecing together what happened. They say officers responded to a report of a shooting last night. Family and friends posted photos and tributes on social media to Oscar and Florinda Picasso, a San Francisco couple in their late 40s. Police say the two were found dead with gunshot wounds inside their home in the Portola neighborhood near busy San Bruno Avenue Sunday night around 8:45. Sources tell KTVU it was a murder-suicide. Police have yet to confirm this and did not release details of what happened or the motive for this shooting.
I just heard a different sirens coming over a 15-20 minute period, different types. I think one was the police cars, obviously, and then another was probably an emergency vehicle. Sirens are a little different. And after the third time hearing that, you're going.
All right, crossing the bay now. On any given day, you may pass families on the streets of San Francisco with small kids totally unaware that they have nowhere to sleep at night. Homelessness is a serious challenge for immigrant families, especially, some of whom come to San Francisco because of its sanctuary city designation. In 2022, SFUSD identified more than 2,400 homeless students in the district. Some may live in cars, some on the street, some in emergency family shelters. Earlier this month, Supervisor Asha Safai introduced a resolution urging the city to do more to get these families off the street and into shelter faster. I spent a few days with a homeless family from El Salvador. They told me about their struggle to get a roof over their children's heads. Hours of washing clothes, shoveling them into the dryer, then folding shirt after shirt. It's the kind of chore most of us drag our feet through every week. But for Carla, this is more like a vacation.
Sé que a veces es muy complicado andar para arriba y para abajo por el frío. Aquí estoy un poco más segura.
Carla, her husband Jose, and their 4 kids are homeless. They fled violence in their native El Salvador 7 months ago and have been living inside a San Francisco school packed in with some 60 other people. It's being used as one of the city's emergency shelters for immigrant families.
Como lo dicen, es un shelter de emergencia, no es un shelter estable. Yo llevo 6 meses con mi familia acá y he buscado por todos los medios querer salir para algo, pero lastimosamente no hay.
Every day, the families are kicked out of the shelter at 6 a.m., left to walk the streets. They have nowhere to go and have used bus stops and city parks as places to rest. They can't go back inside until the evening for their one meal of the day, a hurried shower, and some sleep on cots on the floor of the school's auditorium. And even when they can finally lay their heads down, there are other worries. Lately, they say, multiple people in the shelter have gotten violently sick, including their 6-year-old daughter, who ended up in the hospital with an infection.
Fue muy difícil porque mientras mi hija estaba en el hospital, estaba yo con ella, mi esposo con mis otros 3 hijos, pues tuvieron que buscar de una ayuda de un señor de la iglesia que les diera por lo menos donde pasar en un carro. Entonces, porque ellos tenían temor también de regresar.
The children were afraid of getting sick like their sister. Families like Carla's feel they're stuck in a loop, unable to get housing or even a hotel voucher. And advocates like Matt Alexander from Faith in Action, who are helping immigrant families like Carla's, say
their struggle is not unique.
What we're seeing is that families go to the access point and are told there's no resources. We can't help you, right? They're left on the street. I mean, that's happened over and over and over again.
The city's designated family shelters are full with waiting lists, and advocates say there's too much red tape to get families the help they need when they need it.
You go through this 90-minute intake process, and at the end of the time, they said to the families, you haven't been homeless for long enough. You don't have enough points in the system. Here's some Muni tokens.
On any given day, you may pass families on the streets of San Francisco with small kids, totally unaware that they have nowhere to sleep at night. Homelessness is a serious challenge for immigrant families, especially some of whom come to San Francisco because of its sanctuary city designation. In 2022, the school district in San Francisco identified more than 2,400 homeless students in the district. Some of them live in cars, some on the street, or in emergency family shelters. Now, earlier this month, Supervisor Asha Safai introduced a resolution urging the city to do more to get them off the street and into shelters faster. Sarah Donchi spent a few days with a homeless family from El Salvador, and they told her about their struggle.
All right, crossing the bay now. On any given day, you may pass families. All right, crossing the bay now.
On any given day, you may pass families on the streets of San Francisco with small kids, totally unaware that they have nowhere to sleep at night. Homelessness is a serious challenge for immigrant families, especially some of whom come to San Francisco because of its sanctuary city designation. In 2022, the school district in San Francisco identified more than 2,400 homeless students in the district. Some of them live in cars, some on the street, or in emergency family shelters. Now, earlier this month, Supervisor Asha Safai introduced a resolution urging the city to do more to get them off the street and into shelters faster. Sarah Donchi spent a few days with a homeless family from El Salvador, and they told her.
All right, crossing the bay now. On any given day, you may pass families on the streets of San Francisco with small kids, totally unaware that they.
We know firsthand of other situations where the local city council person is called over and over again and nothing changes unless we and others get involved in exposing a light on it. And that just it gives people a lack of confidence in their city, in the city of Los Angeles, to do something that is supposed to be enforced. I mean, this is, you know, you feel for the person. Maybe they've got issues that it makes it hard for them to clean this up, but the rest of the neighborhood needs the city to step in and to enforce the laws. And I just wonder why they haven't until now. And maybe you'll find out during this briefing.
She's actually she's walking over to me. I know you can't really see it, but she is half a block down. She is walking over. She's taking absolutely. You know, one of the things that's astounding, and I know I've said it earlier before, it looks like a trash truck has actually pulled up and dumped all of these trash bags. It's actually unfathomable to see it right here in front of us. And we have spoken to so many residents who have seen the media around us. Frank and Jessica, there are at least 12 cameras surrounded by me. I mean, people from Network, people from Japan, and Ed is going to sort of pan over so you can kind of get an idea of just how many media reporters are here. And so residents in this area pulled aside when they saw us and said, oh my gosh, are you here because you're here to announce that this is going to get cleaned up? Because we drive past it every single day and see it and hope that something is going to change. Sure. And so that is what we hope to hear in the coming minutes. I'll step aside now for the mayor.
Well, they just walked right by the microphones. It looks like the mayor and the council person, Katie Young-Yaroslavsky, are looking at what neighbors in this neighborhood have been complaining about for months. We know the first citation on this home went back to 2014, according to Annie Rose Ramos. There was an attempt at that time to clean things up, but then again a few months ago, or perhaps a year ago, I don't know exactly the timeline, but residents have told her they've been complaining about this for months. And it was only after all the media attention that finally we're now being told that they're treating this with a sense of urgency. And the question becomes, is there something in the city code that stops the city officials from doing something about situations like this? Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're not. They have to follow some legal protocols and jump over some hurdles. I don't know, actually, but one does wonder why it takes so long for something like this to get addressed. So finally, it looks like the mayor and the council person are going to speak. Let's listen in.
Come on, Councilwoman. I don't know how to describe this any other way than to say that this is just a tragedy. I mean, this is awful, and obviously this has been developing for months. I worry about the individual that is in this home. I'm not sure, maybe you guys know if he's actually there today. But one thing that I can tell you is that we are going to do everything we can to begin to clear this today. I don't want to hear about any process or whatever. This, to me, is a public health emergency. This is a fire hazard. And I worry about the individual there, this place catching fire, him losing his life, the quality of life that is compromised by for these neighbors. We just spoke to several of them, and I assured them that we are going to mobilize any and every city agency, and this will be dealt with today. Councilwoman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I spoke with Dr. Barbara Ferrer late last night. She informed me that Department of Public Health had been out here yesterday. Their environmental department had issued a citation